everyone. Welcome back to the Jill Lublin Show. I am so delighted to see you here today, and I'm specifically excited about our wonderful guest today, Janette Burke. She is an online media personality, she's an on-camera trainer, and she's the host and creator of literally a four-time award-winning lifestyle series with Janette's TV and Janette's TV podcast. So we got a media personality here. Welcome, Janette.
Well, thank you so much, Jill. It's an honor to be here and to be interviewed by you.
Oh, I'm so glad and glad you're here. And I know you're really passionate about what you call a mediapreneur, which I love that.
Mhm.
And and I know both that we're very committed to people getting more media. And I just want to know, why do you think it's important that people appear in media for their business?
It's really important, Jill, because we all need visibility and exposure to new audiences to get eyeballs on our products, our business, our service, whatever we're providing. And we can't do that living in a bubble. We have to be very, very visible. And so, media, as I'm sure you know, because you've got a huge history in PR and in corporate PR as well, there's only so much other marketing can do. But when you get in front of an audience, not only do you have a chance to communicate your message to a captive audience, that audience should represent your ideal client. And you have a captive opportunity to relay your marketing message to them, your story. They get to see you up close and personal and understand who you are, what you do, why you do it. And that brings a personalization that cannot be achieved when you're, let's say, reading an ad about you or possibly a social media post about you. So you want that because there's that connection and that reach.
Mhm.
And at the same time, you're positioning yourself as an expert, you're building your credibility, and there's really nothing else that compares to it, not even speaking on a stage, because speaking on a stage, while it elevates you and it does bring visibility, it doesn't bring third party credibility endorsement that the media outlet brings or that the media interviewer brings to the table for
Right.
you.
Because they're talking about you, right? I love the elevated status. I think that's really important that you all hear that. By Janette being on this show, she immediately has uh, elevated, and you're listening more because of her appearing in media, which I think is super great. And can I just ask you, what do you recommend as some first steps for people to get more media specifically?
Okay, so I used to be a PR person, but I went from behind the cameras to in front of them, and I'm totally a media person now. But I would say that you have to know where and what you're pitching. And you have to do some research on that because not every media is going to be the right fit for your story. And you have to ascertain, what kind of story do you have? Do you have a human interest story? Do you have a lifestyle story? Do you have a business story? Those are usually the top three. And then you need to select the appropriate media that covers that beat or that story. And then you need to devise what is called a media pitch letter, which I'm sure Jill is very skilled at helping her clients devise. And that letter needs to follow a certain formula, and it cannot be an ad in disguise. It actually has to show that you have a newsworthy, credible story that is going to be of benefit and interest to the audience, be they readers, listeners, viewers, blog followers. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, as a media person, I'm going to tell you straight that we have an obligation to our coveted audience to make sure they are not being sold. So we don't want an ad in disguise. We want real news that has succinctly benefits put to it and that can easily be conveyed on camera interestingly on camera. Sometimes you need to add maybe a demo or something like that to make it a little more interesting. But certainly, if I ever receive a media pitch, and I know when people know what my show is about, I know when they know who I feature, the type of topics I cover, what type of guests I have. And I know when they don't. And I know when they come to me and say, Janette, I want to be on your show. And they haven't done their due diligence. And I say, well, why do you want to be on my show? What do you know about my show? And they say, well, you have a 9.2 million audience of savvy women over 40. I said, yeah. And what do you have to bring to them? Because at the end of the day, that's what we want to know. We have a responsibility to give proper content to our audience that they will eat up, lap up, and hopefully, go the next step with you.
Right.
That's
And
what it's all about.
right, it's a two-way street. I mean, obviously, you as a media person, me as a media person, we want to give value and benefit to our listeners and viewers. You all who are pitching us want to also do that. And I think really coming from that place is going to make a big difference, don't you, Janette?
Totally. Like I said, we know when you don't do your due diligence. We know when you're, and I think it's really important to realize that the media is in business too. And we survive on ratings, viewer ratings. So we have to have content for that. We often have also commitments to our sponsors that we have to fulfill. And I think that you have to understand that it's not just about you getting a free spot or free publicity, because that's all about you. We want to know more than that. What's in it for all of us? And particularly our audience, they want to know what's in it for them. And we want a win-win situation where we both walk out, you know, uh, fueling our businesses, right?
Yes. Yes. Value all the way around. Thank you for
Yeah.
underlining that. So
Mhm.
speaking of value, we're looking at media sponsorship.
Yes.
And that's slightly different than being interviewed. But would you explain the difference for
Mhm.
that so for our viewers to understand that?
Okay, so media sponsorship is when you sign up to be a sponsor of a show like mine or a podcast like Jill's or even a publication. And during that time, you have a commitment. Usually, you're going to be promoted sort of like an commercial, um, X amount of times over X amount of episodes for X amount of months. So, this is repeat exposure. And usually there's some sort of package involved that includes a number of things, and it could include an interview as well as your sponsorship. But mainly the sponsorship is sort of more of like a product placement or a promo video commercial where you have an opportunity to talk directly about your business, whereas in an interview, you don't want to be as direct, you want to be more conversational and it's more pinpointed towards getting the sale. Like the video itself, the commercial would be honing in on one particular aspect, um, pain point that your product is solving. And it could be done by you, it could be done by the host of the show. It's really about consistent and ongoing promotion. And why media sponsorship is so wonderful and it works so well is that it's all about alignment. When you align yourself with a particular show, you're aligning with their audience, you're aligning with their values, you're aligning with their message, and you're putting your business out there in the spotlight in this alignment. So it's a little different than an interview, but it does work very well with interviewing. And I would say sponsorship is a hand in hand opportunity that should not be overlooked for its tremendous value and benefits.
I think that's really true. For the right audience that is yours, how important that is. So, people might look at you or me and think, oh, they're on media, they know. But I know that both of us didn't start knowing right from the get-go out the womb, right? It was a learning experience and we've practiced. And so what would you say for somebody who says, "Oh, I feel shy, I don't know how to begin." What would you tell them to do?
I would say start small. Media is a process. It works like a pyramid. You want to do the smaller appearances at the bottom and work your way up. So it kind of goes like this: local, regional, national, international. And, every opportunity to be interviewed is a learning opportunity. And you can only get better. You can master your interviewing skills. I would say don't have too high of an expectation, as in, you're not going to start out on Good Morning America. You have to earn that right to graduate to that level. And I would also say that do not take your interview for granted, no matter where you're being uh, featured, because these are golden opportunities for publicity and exposure that you can never get back, and that also hang around. Like, they're usually shared on YouTube or social media platforms. So they're links. People are looking at you, they're seeing you, they're knowing you. Don't give them a reason to tune away from you or turn away from you. I would also say that preparation for any media interview is absolutely key. You never wing a media interview. So you may be presented with the questions ahead of time. You may not. That's strictly up to the interviewer, whether or not they're going to do that, or the producer or the producer's staff. But you should know your stuff. It's your topic. You should be well prepared. You might require some on camera media training. I don't believe that people are naturally born to be great on camera. I think it comes with practice. I think you need to learn what to say when. We call that talking in sound bites. And not to just, take it very casually, because this is a marketing tool that is so valuable. And again, it's a golden opportunity for publicity and exposure. If you blow it, you're not getting a second chance.
Yeah. Or maybe, invited back, right? So all of that's key. And thank you for underlining so many good points here. I love this. And, I know people are loving you, and I want to know, how can they get in touch with you? What do you have for us?
Okay, so what I have for you is a website called, I'll give it www.janette, Janette, Burke, Burke.com. I am on every social media platform you can think of at either Janette Burke, which I just spelled, or Janette's TV, Janette apostrophe S, or not apostrophe S TV. You will find me everywhere. You can DM me. You can book an appointment with me right on my website under contact. The schedule is right there. And I would say that what I have to offer, I have to offer a wonderful sponsorship opportunity. I also have interview opportunities. And for the select few who might need it, I do on-camera training. I also train people to start a podcast or YouTube channel and be an awesome host. That's everything from how to get it going to how to book your guests, how to niche it, how to monetize it, how to promote it, and literally everything in between. So I look forward to hearing from you. I feature celebrities, niched lifestyle brands, lifestyle experts, CEOs, founders. And that's basically who I feature, and the occasional book author on my
Beautiful.
team.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Any last words, advice, wisdom?
For people trying to get into media?
Yes, please.
Any last words? I would say that you can do it yourself. You should learn from Jill how to do it properly yourself. And you do not need to necessarily hire a PR person to do it for you. But where it would come in handy to hire a PR person is when you really feel that you do not have the time to properly devote to it. Like you've got to allocate X amount of hours per week. And you have to be consistent with your sending of your media pitches and your following up, because the media works on cycles, and your topic may not be what they want right now, but they'll forget about you if you don't remind them that you exist and that your story is pertinent. Get yourself a calendar so you know what they cover when. There's a calendar every year, they follow that. And go to their websites and get their decks. That's very important as well. Make sure you know who covers what beat. Do not blindly pitch to a producer or media person and say, oh, well, you could pass this on to the right source. They're not going to do that. And never offer a bribe.
Yeah, good advice. I love that. Although I found occasionally food works, like send chocolate chip cookies, but that's it. We're not talking about, any kind of real money
Monetary
here.
bribe.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you. I think this has been really, really helpful for anyone to understand even more the importance of publicity. And we appreciate you being here, Janette.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Jill. It's been a true pleasure, delight, and I look forward to having the pleasure of interviewing you next.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening. Keep tuning in and check out my website, jilllublin.com. I'm looking forward to seeing you at our next wonderful podcast adventure. And until then, keep being kind.